thoughts on Kevin Durant. We know he is an immensely talented player. 7 foot tall, can shoot mid-range, shoot the three, great free throw percentage. But
The bud. It's his birthday today too. Happy birthday, bro.
happy birthday, KD. But no rings without Steph. And there's no way you can get around it. You can't get around it. You can't. And Steph won. This ring right here with Steph won. This ring means more than the 2 that he won with KD.
Yeah, no question, because he did it by himself. Or not by, excuse me, not by himself, but he did it on his own, got final MVP. My question to you before I answer what KD is, does Steph have 2 rings or 4 rings if KD never goes to Golden State?
I believe he has 2. I do not believe they're going to be, and they knew that. The way Kyrie and LeBron had just tracked them down from 3-1, they had gotten confidence. They're not beating them.
Right.
They're never going to beat them again, and they knew that.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. KD, one of the most efficient players we've ever seen in the game. Another unicorn, a 6'11" guy that can handle the ball like a guard, shoot like a guard. But like you said, I think he will get his respect if he's able to get that ring. You know what I mean? And people criticize, oh, you lost to them and you went and joined them. I'm all for player empowerment. Like, if you want to go somewhere and you're going to be happy there, go play there. I don't knock anyone on that. But again, I think the criticism is, like, you won with Steph. Can you win by yourself? And it's not even by itself. I mean, I can't speak to if it bothers them, but if enough people are saying anything and you feel like it's not true, it's going to bother you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't speak.
When he go back with enough people on social media, something bothered him.
Yeah, but see, I like that too, because again, like, Kevin Durant just cussed me out. Like, how many people are you gonna? If you're a regular person, how many people are you telling that to? You're telling everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So people, why does he interact, or why? Because he wants to. He has a lot of free time on his hands. He's a good basketball. He's got time to do it. So I don't knock that. But I think he has to win, I think, to get the respect he deserves. I mean, he's got 2 rings.
2 finals MVP. He's won an MVP.
Dominating finals MVPs. So yeah, like I said, I think the only thing people question or want to see is, can he do it without Steph?
You talked about some of LeBron's leadership skills, and I think that's one of the things that come into KD is his leadership skills. He's made it abundantly clear. He just wants to hoop. I don't want the leadership. I don't want the responsibility of being a leader. But I think he has to bear that, because when you go to Brooklyn, you're trying to establish a culture. And so you need to be the voice that says, okay, guys, we need to do this, we need to do that. It's just not good enough to let your play speak for itself.
That's a tough one, because we both know the best player is not always the leader.
No.
And that's not just basketball, that's across the board. But again, when you're trying to establish something in a new place, your voice outside of your play does have to speak. And I think that's what that team has been lacking. You know what I mean? You can't all of a sudden just become a leader.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's either in you or it isn't in you. So, I mean, it's no knock on him. Like I said, he wants to come out here, hoop, and play basketball. So, like him being the rah-rah, yelling type, that's not necessarily him. He's going to speak his mind when it needs to be spoke. But, I think if people are looking for him to lead, and that's not necessarily a quality that he wants or has, I think he does enough other things to obviously get the stamp of approval. So to me, who steps up and is that leader? Is it Steve Nash? Is it Kyrie, committed Kyrie? Is it someone else?
How you Kyrie go lead?
If he's
you can't lead when people don't know if you're gonna show up to play or not.
Again, I think like Harden, I think Kyrie is gonna have a monster season too. Because I've been critical of him. Because I really felt like, obviously you're supposed to put yourself first, but we're also in a team sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to think that Kev left Golden State to come fuck with you because he felt like you too, and we all. You remember the excitement? There weren't too many people saying, "Oh, this team's not gonna be good." Like, we all thought that. Yeah. Man, KD, Kyrie, oh man, they just got James too. This is arguably the greatest trio. Like, what is this going to happen? So I think a lot of, and I'm never going to knock a man on, that COVID situation was a monster. And whether you decide to get vaccinated.
A lot of people lost their lives, lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods.
To each their own as far as whether you want to get vaccinated or not. But I just think that, along his road and his path, he forgot that he was an integral part of a team that he was the driving force behind Kevin coming to Brooklyn.
Right.
And I say this just from a stance that I just want to see, because I know how good he is.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
the
he's
world
special. He's sensational.
knows how talented Kyrie Irving is. We know how talented Kevin Durant is, and I just want to see them hitting on all cylinders, I think, from a fan's perspective.
Are you surprised that KD asked for a trade? In the manner in which he asked, because it became public that, hey,
right.
either these mofos go
That was bold.
or I go.
That was bold. I think if he would have just asked for one, it might have worked. You can't ask for both, KD. He can't ask for the coach and the GM. If you would have just get that motherfucker out of here, they might have did it. But am I surprised? Yeah,
Because it seemingly came from from nowhere.
Yeah, no. You know, I just think there's just a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in organizations that we just have no idea, whether it's, you know, some sneakiness or some backdooring, some other stuff. Like, there's just so much stuff we don't know that could have prompted that, or just him just tired of the BS. But I think no matter where Kevin Durant plays, there's always going to be a circus around him because of what's happened in the past and just how good he is. So, you know, he asked for a trade. You know, New Jersey stood on their own and said, like, we're not just going to give you away. And
right.
I think he said the other day, is like, I know they're not just, I'm Kevin Durant. So, you know, they tried to do it. I think what happened with that is if the Rudy Gobert trade messed up the whole pipeline this summer.
I don't know who did that trade in Minnesota.
If you can get swaps and 4 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert, I mean, that makes me think as an organization, I want 8 to 10 first-round picks for Kevin Durant, because they're not even in the same.
But yeah, but you know Brooklyn said, but the team was like, just because they made that horrible deal,
we're not doing that. We're not doing that dumbness. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I think, you know, with all due respect, because I like Rudy Gobert, you know, defensive player of the year. I think he's going to help Minnesota, but I think that Rudy Gobert trade messed up a lot of movement in the NBA this year, because I think there would have been a lot more movement if that King's ransom wasn't paid for him.
But what about the possibility? They said, hold on, wait a minute now. Kevin Durant was in Golden State. Ideal culture. You're not going to win any more than what he won there. And he did. He went somewhere else. Okay, he's in Brooklyn with his homeboy, best friend, and he wasn't happy there. So what's to say we give up a Jason Tatum, we give up a Jaylen Brown, we give up 2 first-round picks, and a year later he comes to us and say, hey, I need to move. We done gave up a 25 or 26-year-old 2 first-round picks, and Kevin Durant wants to move again.
Ain't no telling. Yeah, you really just don't know, Shannon. You don't know. You know what I mean? You got to hope to build a surrounding around that he's comfortable in, and that he can go out and thrive in.
Brooklyn did that. They gave him everything except the Brooklyn Bridge. They don't own that.
Yeah, I'm not saying they didn't. You know what I'm saying? And he still wanted to leave.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, there's no rhyme or reason. The one thing I just know about KD is, despite what he says or what he wants to do, every time he steps on the court, you know what he's going to give you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the one thing that I'm always going to respect about him. You could say, oh, he fights on Twitter, or he wants to be traded, or he can't do this, or he can't do that. Every time he steps on the floor, he's giving it his all, and I got to respect that.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and become an official member of Club Shay Shay, where we do something before 2 something.